From stories of jubilance to heartbreak, we have a team of correspondents right across this country and beyond our borders, delivering those key moments in history. Tonight, in their own words, once again, a look back at the news that made headlines in 2012.
The wreck of the Costa Concordia is a sad, morbid, and irresistible photo subject. Now, even captured from space.
Everybody was just screaming out. All the passengers were running up and down.
The man at the center of the disaster, ship captain Francesco Schettino, defended himself before a judge, claiming that he tripped and fell into a lifeboat and didn't deliberately abandon ship early.
Dozens of riveted spectators crowded the fence as the three convicted members of the Shafia clan made their final descent down the stairs and into a waiting police van to begin life sentences. Sisters Zainab, Sahar, Gidi, and Shafia's first wife, Rona Amir Mohammed, were found drowned in the family's submerged Nissan in the Kingston Locks in June 2009.
She had that accident last week while training on the Superpipe here in Park City. She completed an aerial maneuver. She landed on her skis, but then she fell and she hit her head. And she died this morning at 9:20 here in the hospital in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Nick Zoricic was killed while racing in a World Cup ski cross race Saturday in Grindelwald, Switzerland. The 29-year-old Canadian national team member suffered severe head injuries after crashing into the safety nets after going wide on the final jump.
Their ballot was interfered with on election day. Unsubstantiated smear. I wonder if getting the same answer twice qualifies as a robo-answer.
For days, MPs have been hurling accusations about phony phone calls made during the last election. Now, the NDP says it's time to start taking steps to make sure it doesn't happen again.
With another pair of protests this afternoon, there have now been more than 160 student demonstrations in the streets of Montreal just since the beginning of the year. The Premier today said he's not budging.
We live in a democracy, and issues are not resolved through intimidation or violence.
One thing was always clear. George Zimmerman shot and killed Trayvon Martin. The shock was that Zimmerman was not charged by police, who accepted his account of self-defense. In came a special prosecutor, and tonight, charges were laid.
Within hours, Conrad Black was spotted in his Toronto backyard, free as a bird. He's been granted a one-year temporary residency permit to return to Canada. The permission has led to scrutiny over whether the rich businessman was getting special treatment from the Canadian government.
As Luca Magnotta was whisked away to a state prison, he attracted just the kind of attention he so seems to crave. Wanted in Canada for the gruesome killing and dismemberment of Chinese student Lin Jun, the 29-year-old former porn actor was arrested yesterday in a Berlin internet cafe.
The central event of the central weekend of the Jubilee celebrations was the 1,000-boat pageant on the Thames. This was the vista as they approached London's riverside landmarks. In their midst, Canadian content in the form of a dragon boat with breast cancer survivors from BC and an antique canoe with paddlers in voyageur clothes.
Jerry Sandusky looked to be in a daze and answered no questions.
Anything to say, sir?
He wouldn't need the jacket and tie much longer. A new wardrobe awaited him last night in jail. 8 victims in all testified that Sandusky, the revered defensive coach at Penn State University, first befriended them as boys, then began to sexually assault them in showers, hotels, and in his home.
The stretcher went in, and 4.5 days after the ceiling collapsed at the Elliot Lake Mall, 2 bodies came out. Hats off, a silent sign of respect and condolence from the crew that worked through the night to bring them out. As confirmations of the deaths filtered into the crowd, reality began to sink in. That no one trapped inside survived.
This opposition Aleppo neighborhood is under siege. The shelling is unrelenting. Refugees fleeing the fighting, once a trickle, now a flood, simply say the world has abandoned Syria.
The big midnight premiere of Batman was just underway. The audience at first confused by the action on screen and the noise in the theater.
And he had no history as a troublemaker. His only known offense was a traffic violation, allowing Holmes to buy all of the weapons he allegedly used in Friday morning's rampage.
They just kept coming. Victim after victim, stretcher after stretcher, in the worst battle of gun violence Toronto has ever seen.
And all of a sudden, people that started shooting. They were just running.
It was a community barbecue that turned into a battlefield. 2 people shot dead, another 23 shot and wounded. The dead, 14-year-old Cheyenne Charles, who lived nearby, and 23-year-old Joshua Yasse of Ajax. Police say both innocent bystanders.